Hi, Tanukis. I hope you're all well. You had a good weekend. As you can see, I went for the hair. Tried to do, just a bit of a tidy up, and I was just looking desperate. So, had a great dramatic moment. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Although I missed my barbers more than anyone else, I probably won't hug my friends or family when this is all over. Just the barber. They'll get the first hug and the first visit. We're going to continue on with the Secret Seven. We've got a few more chapters to get on with, and we're on to chapter 9. So we kind of just found out something about what just happened, but we're going to find out more. They're about to go investigate at night time. Chapter 9. Out into the night. Janet spent the whole of the afternoon making Scamper a white coat. Peter borrowed a ragged old sheet and found an old white Macintosh. Macintosh are kind of like the jackets with the pockets. I don't think you've seen me wear one. He thought that he could cut up the sheet and make it do for the other three, but it was so big. Janet helped him to cut it out and make armholes and neck holes. She giggled when she put on one to see if it was all right. "You do look peculiar," she said. "What about your head? How are you going to hide your dark hair? There'll be moonlight tomorrow, you know." "We're going to have to try and make white caps or something," said Peter, "and we'll paint our faces white." "There'll be some whitewash in the shed," said Janet with another giggle. "Oh dear, you will all look strange. Can I come to the shed at 9, Peter, and just see you all before you go?" "All right, if you can creep down without anyone seeing you," said Peter. "I think Mummy's going out tonight, so it should be all right. If she's not, you mustn't come in case you make a noise and spoil the whole thing. Mummy was going out that night. Good. Now it'll be easy to slip down to the shed." Peter told Janet that she must wrap up very warmly indeed, and if she had fallen asleep, she was not going to wake up. "I shan't fall asleep," said Janet indignantly. Bad word there, love that one, a bit of indignance. "You know I couldn't possibly. Mind you don't." There's a great use of italics there as well. "Don't be silly," said Peter. "As if the leader in an important plan like this could fall asleep. My word, Janet, the Secret Seven are in for an adventure this time." At 8:30, the children's lights were out, and didn't go on again, but torches lit up their room, and Janet was very, very busy dressing up Scamper in his new white coat. He didn't like it at all, and kept biting at it. "Oh, Scamper, you won't be allowed to go unless you look like a snow dog," said Janet, almost in despair. And whether or not Scamper understood what she had said, she didn't know, but from that moment he let her dress him up without any more trouble. He looked peculiar and very mournful. "Come on, if you're coming. It's almost 9, said a whispering voice. It was Peter's. Together, the 2 children and Scamper crept down the stairs. They were very warmly wrapped up indeed, but as soon as they got out into the air, they found out that it was not nearly as cold as they expected. "The snow's melting. There's no frost tonight," whispered Janet. "Gosh, I hope those snowmen won't have melted," said Peter in alarm. "Oh, they won't yet," said Janet. "Come on, I can see one of the others." The passwords were whispered softly at the door of the shed, and soon there were 5 of the Secret Seven there. Peter lit a candle, and they all looked from one to another in excitement. "We've got to paint our faces white and put on our white things," said Peter. "Then we're ready." Jack giggled. "Look at Scamper. He's in white too. Scamper, you look ridiculous." "Woof," said Scamper miserably. He felt ridiculous too. Poor Scamper. With squeals and gurgles of laughter, the 4 boys painted their faces white. They had carefully put on their white coat things first so as not to mess up their overcoats. Janet fitted the little white skull caps she had roughly made over each boy's head. "Well, I shouldn't like to meet you walking down the lane tonight," she said. "You look terrifying." "Time we went," said Peter. "Goodbye, Janet. Go to bed now and sleep tight. I'll tell you our adventures in the morning. I shan't wake you when I come in." "I'll stay awake till you come," said Janet. She watched them go off down the moonlit path, a row of weird white figures with horrid white faces. They really did look like walking snowmen as they trod softly over the soft, melting snow. They made their way quietly out of the gate and walked in the direction of the lane that led to the old house, keeping a sharp lookout for any passers-by. They met no one except a big boy who came so quietly round a corner in the snow that not one of them before heard him. They stopped at once when they saw him. He stopped too. He gazed at the 4 white snowmen in horror. "Ooh," he said. "What's this? Who are you?" Peter gave a dreadful groan, and the boy shouted in alarm, "Help! 4 live snowmen, help!" He tore off down the road shouting. The 4 boys collapsed in helpless giggles against the fence behind. "Oh dear," said Jack. "I nearly burst with laughter when you did that groan, Peter." "Come on, we'd better get away quickly before that boy brings someone else back here," said Peter. We've got a picture there. and they went out on their way. They came to the lane where their old house stood and went down it. They soon came to the old house. It stood silent and dark, with its roof white in the moonlight. "Nobody's here yet," said Peter. "There's no light anywhere in the house, and not a sound to be heard." "Let's go and join the merry gang of snowmen, then," said Jack. "And I wish you'd tell Scamper not to get between my feet so much, Peter. He'll trip me up in this sheet thing I'm wearing." They climbed over the gate and went into the field. The snowmen still stood there, but alas, they were melting and were already smaller than they had been in the morning. Scamper went and sniffed at each one solemnly. Peter called him. "Come here, you've got to stand as still as we do. And remember, not a bark, not a growl, not a whine." Scamper understood. He stood as still as a statue beside Peter. The boys stood for all of the world like neat snowmen as they stood there in the snowy fields. They waited and they waited. Nobody came. They waited for half an hour and they began to feel cold. "The snow is melting around my feet," complained Jack. "How much longer do you think we've got to stand here?" The others felt tired of it too. Gone were their ideas of staying half the night, standing quietly with the snowmen. Half an hour was more than enough. "Can't we go for a little walk or something?" said Colin impatiently. "Just to keep us warm." Peter was about to answer when he stopped and stiffened. He had heard something. What was it? Colin began to speak again. "Shh!" said Peter. Colin stopped at once. They all listened. A faraway sound came to their straining ears. "It's that squealing sound," said Jack suddenly. "I know it is, only very faint and far away. It's coming from the old house. There is somebody there." Shivers went down their backs. They listened again, and once more the queer, faraway sound came on the night air. "I don't like it," said Peter. "I'm going to the old house to see if I can hear it there. I think we ought to tell somebody." "Let's all go," said Colin, but Peter was quite firm about that. "No, 2 to go and 2 to remain on guard. That's what we said. Jack, you come with me. Colin and George, stay here and watch." Peter and Jack, two queer white figures with strange white faces, went to the field gate, climbed it, and went to the gate of the old house. They opened it and shut it behind them. There was no snow now at all to be heard. There was no noise at all to be heard now. There we go. They went quietly up the drive, keeping to the shadows in case the old caretaker might suddenly be looking out. They went to the front door and looked through the letterbox. Nothing was to be seen through there at all. All was dark inside. They went to the side door. It was fastened, of course. Then they went to the back door and tried that. That was locked too. Then they heard a queer thundering noise from somewhere in the house. They clutched at one another. What was going on in this old, empty house? "I say, that old man has left this window a bit open. The one he spoke to us out of this morning," whispered Jack suddenly. "Goodness, has he really? Then what about getting in and seeing if we can find the prisoner?" whispered Peter in excitement. It only took a minute or two to climb up and get inside. They stood inside the dark kitchen listening. There was no noise at all to be heard. Where could the prisoner be? "Do we dare to search the whole house from top to bottom?" said Peter. "I've got my torch." "Yes, we dare, because we jolly well ought to," answered Jack. So, as quietly as they could, they tiptoed into first the scullery and then an outhouse. Nobody was there at all. "Now, into the hall, and we'll peep into the rooms there," said Peter. The front rooms were bright with moonlight, but the back rooms were dark. The boys pushed open each door and flashed the torch round the room beyond. Each one was silent and empty. They came to a shut door. Sounds came from behind it. Peter clutched Jack. "Somebody's in there. I expect the door's locked, but I'll try it. Stand ready to run if we're chased." And then chapter 10 is In the Old Empty House, which we will go to tomorrow. I hope you're enjoying this book. I'm really enjoying it. I haven't read it since I was a child. So if you've any thoughts about it, let me know. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye-bye.